Good morning to all. Welcome to our channel Learn and Crack. Today we are going to discuss one of the important topic from political science, the president. Articles 52 to 78 under part 5 of the Indian Constitution deal with the Union Executive. The Union Executive consists of the president, the vice president, the council of ministers headed by the prime minister and the attorney general of India. As per Article 52, there shall be a President of India. We know that the President is the head of the Indian state and he is the first citizen of India and act as the symbol of unity, integrity and solidarity of the nation. Article 54 of the Indian Constitution deals with the election procedure of the President. We know that the President is not directly elected by the people but indirectly by the members of Electoral College. The Electoral College consisting of first one, elected members of both the houses of parliament. Second one, elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states. Third one, elected members of the legislative assemblies of the UTs of Delhi and Puducherry. That is, the nominated members of both the houses of parliament, the nominated members of the state legislative assemblies, and the members, both elected and nominated members of the state legislative councils and the nominated members of the legislative assemblies of Delhi and Puducherry do not participate in the election of the president. Article 55, which deals with the manner of election, the Constitution provides that there shall be uniformity in the scale of representation of different states as well as parity between the state as a whole and the union at the election of the president. In order to achieve, the Constitution itself provide a manner to calculate the value of vote of an MLA and value of the vote of an MP. According to Constitution, value of the vote of an MLA is equal to total population of his state divided by total number of elected members in the state legislative assembly into 1 by 1000, and the value of vote of an MP equal to total value of votes of all MLAs of all states divided by total number of elected members of parliament. This is an illustration for the calculation of value of an MLA. These data are based on 2017, that means latest presidential election. For example, in case of Telangana, total number of assembly seats equal to 119 and total population of Telangana as per 1971 census is equal to 1.57 crores. Applying these two values on the equation, we will get the value of the vote of an MLA from Telangana equal to 132. In the same way, in the case of Bihar, the value of vote of an MLA from Bihar is equal to 173. That is, the value of each MLA from each state is varying. It depends upon its number of population and number of assembly seats. While calculating the value of vote of an MLA, we are still considering 1971 census data. According to 42nd Constitutional Amendment of 1976, up to 2026, we must consider 1971 population data for the calculation of value of vote of an MLA from different states. This is a comprehensive data sheet based on 2017 presidential election. From this, it is clear that the value of vote of an MLA from Assam is equal to 116. At the same time, the value of vote of an MLA from Sikkim is only 7. So from this, it is clear that the total value of votes for the states is equal to 5,49,495. Then we want to calculate the value of vote of an MP. According to 2017 presidential election, total value of votes of all MLAs is equal to 5,49,495. We know that total number of MPs equal to 776, that is 543 from Lok Sabha and 233 from Rajya Sabha. Then we will get the value of the vote of each MP equal to 708. From this, it is clear that the value of votes of all MPs are same, that is 708. But the values of votes of MLAs from different states are varying one. In the case of presidential election, a candidate, in order to be declared elected to the office of the president, must secure a fixed quota of votes. The quota of votes can be determined by the equation total number of votes polled by 2 plus 1. That means he must secure an absolute majority of votes. The president's election is held in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of the single transferable vote, and the voting is by secret ballot. Each member of the electoral college is given only one ballot paper. The voter, while casting his vote, is required to indicate his preferences by making 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. against the names of candidates. In the first phase, the first preference votes are counted. In case a candidate secures the required quota in this phase, he is declared elected. Otherwise, the ballots of the candidate securing the least number of first preference votes are cancelled and his second preference votes are transferred to the first preference votes of the other candidates. This process continues till a candidate secures the required quota. According to Article 71, all disputes and doubts in connection with the election of the president must be inquired by the Supreme Court and whose decision is final. And if the election of a person as president cannot be challenged on the ground that the electoral college was incomplete. And if the election of a person as president is declared void by the Supreme Court, acts done by him before the date of such declaration of the Supreme Court are not invalidated and continue to remain in force. This is a table of elections of the presidents from 1952 to 2017. The victorious candidates and their main rivalries and the votes secured by him are marked on this table. The current president is Mr. Ramnath Kovind and he entered his office on July 17, 2017. Article 56 deals with the term of office. The president holds office for a term of 5 years from the date on which he enters upon his office. However, he can resign from his office at any time by addressing the resignation letter to the vice president. Further, he can also be removed from the office by the process of impeachment. According to Article 57, he is eligible for re election to that office and he may be elected for any number of terms. But in the case of USA, a person cannot be elected to the office of the president more than twice. Article 58, which deals with the qualifications for election as president. A person to be eligible for election as president should fulfill the following qualifications. First one, he should be a citizen of India. Second one, he should have completed 35 years of age. Third one, he should be qualified for election as a member of the Lok Sabha. And fourth one, he should not hold any office of profit under the union government or any state government or any local authority or any other public authority. A sitting president or vice president of the union, a governor of any state, and a minister of the union or any state is not deemed to hold any office of profit and hence qualified as presidential candidate. Further, the nomination of a candidate for election to the office of president must be subscribed by at least 50 electors as proposers and 50 electors as seconders. Every candidate has to make a security deposit of Rs 15,000 in the Reserve Bank of India. The security deposit is liable to be forfeited in case a candidate fails to secure one-sixth of the votes polled. Before 1997, number of proposers and seconders was 10 each and the amount of security deposit was Rs 2,500 only. In 1997, they were increased to discourage the non-serious candidates. Article 59 deals with the conditions of President's office. The Constitution lays down the following conditions of the President's office. First one, he should not be a member of either House of Parliament or a House of the State Legislative Assembly. If any such person is elected as President, he is deemed to have vacated his seat in that house on the date on which he enters upon his office as president. Second one, he should not hold any office of profit. Third one, he is entitled without any payment of rent to the use of his official residence, that is the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Fourth one, he is entitled to such emoluments, allowances, and privileges as may be determined by Parliament. Fifth one, his emoluments and allowances cannot be diminished during his term of office. Actually, the president is entitled to a number of privileges and immunities. He enjoys personal immunity from legal liability for his official acts. During his term of office, he is immune from any criminal proceedings, even in respect of his personal acts. He cannot be arrested or imprisoned. However, after giving 2 months' notice, civil proceedings can be instituted against him during his term of office in respect to his personal acts. Article 60 deals with oath or affirmation by the President. Before entering upon his office, the President has to make and subscribe to an oath or affirmation. In his oath, the President swears to faithfully execute the office, to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the law, and to devote himself to the service and well being of the people of India. The oath of office to the President is administered by the Chief Justice of India and, in his absence, the senior-most judge of the Supreme Court available. Any other person acting as President or discharging the functions of the President also undertakes the similar oath or affirmation. Article 61 deals with the impeachment procedure of the President. The President can be removed from his office only on the ground that he violated the Constitution. The impeachment charges can be initiated by either House of Parliament. These charges should be signed by one-fourth members of the House that framed the charges, and a 14 days notice should be given to the President. After the impeachment bill is passed by a majority of two-thirds of total membership of that House, it is sent to the other House, which should investigate the charges. The President has the right to appear and to be represented at such investigation. If the other house also sustains the charges and passes the impeachment bill by a majority of two-thirds of the total membership, then the President stands removed from his office from the date on which the bill is so passed. The impeachment process is a quasi-judicial procedure. That is, the nominated members of either House of Parliament can participate in the impeachment of a president, although they do not participate in his election. Second one, the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states and the union territories of Delhi and Puducherry do not participate in the impeachment of the president, although they participate in his election. No president has so far been impeached. This is a comprehensive flowchart of impeachment process of president. Article 62, which deals with the vacancy in the president's office. A vacancy in the president's office can occur in any of the following ways. First one, on the expiration of his tenure of 5 years. Second one, by his resignation. Third one, on his removal by the process of impeachment. Fourth one, by his death. Fifth one, otherwise, for example, when he becomes disqualified to hold office or when his election is declared void. When the vacancy is going to be caused by the expiration of the term of the sitting president, an election to fill the vacancy must be held before the expiration of the term. In case of any delay in conducting the election of new president, by any reason, the outgoing president continues to hold office beyond his term of 5 years until his successor assumes charge. This is provided by the Constitution in order to prevent an interim. In this situation, the vice president does not get the opportunity to act as president or to discharge the functions of the president. In all other four cases, the vice president acts as the president until a new president is elected. In case the office of vice president is vacant, the Chief Justice of India, or if his office is also vacant, the senior most judges of the Supreme Court available acts as the president or discharge the functions of the president. When any person, that is vice president, chief justice of India, or the senior most judges of the Supreme Court, is acting as a president or discharging the functions of the president, he enjoys all the powers and immunities of the president and is entitled to such emoluments, allowances, and privileges as are determined by the parliament. We deal the powers and functions of the president in the next video. Thanks for watching my video. If you likes the video, then subscribe my channel and share it and put your valuable comments in the comments box. Thank you.